You know, in home building, there's this favorite buzzword, uncertainty. It's treated like this temporary fog, like, oh, we just need to wait for the weather to clear.
Right. Just wait for the Fed to pivot, wait for rates to drop, and boom, everything goes back to normal. It's the classic playbook.
Exactly. But there's a new article by John McManus that calls this out as magical thinking. It's the idea that the outside world is going to swoop in and save the industry.
And for a long time, that actually worked. But the premise here is that 2026 is going to be the year that belief stops being helpful and starts being dangerous.
So if the Fed isn't coming to the rescue, what are we looking at?
Well, the article argues that any leader waiting for good news out of DC is in peril. The risks that matter now aren't coming from Washington or global markets.
Okay, so where are they coming from?
Inside the house, literally. The risks are within the builder's own organizations. It's what McManus calls invisible risk.
Invisible risk? That sounds ominous. Give me an example.
It's the unsexy stuff. Dangers hidden in dirt that doesn't pencil out, construction schedules they claim to control but don't, teams working off outdated data.
Ah, the operational gremlins.
Exactly. And customer journeys filled with friction. These risks have always been there, but the market was so forgiving between 2020 and 2024 that nobody noticed. The market isn't forgiving anymore.
Let's talk about the consumer, because that seems to be the flashing red light here.
It is. Look at Las Vegas. Wolf Research did a walk of communities there recently. Vegas is usually ground zero for migration and demand.
And what did they find?
Silence. In 2 days, analysts didn't see prospective buyers in multiple communities. Sales associates said traffic wasn't just low, it had disappeared. And the buyers who were around, they were terrified.
Terrified of what? Interest rates?
It's deeper than that. It's job insecurity and a fear of recession. But it's also structural. The Brookings Institution found that 1/3 of the American middle class is struggling to afford basic necessities.
1/3? That's huge.
It is. In places like California and the Northeast, more than half of middle-class families can't meet basic needs. So builders are relying on a demographic whose economic foundation has literally cracked.
That leads to this really interesting concept mentioned in the piece, the giving up threshold.
This is fascinating and scary. A study by economists Lee and Yu found that as homeownership looks less likely, younger buyers don't just postpone buying, they give up entirely.
They reshape their lives?
Yes, they spend more on other things, they reduce work effort, they take different risks. They aren't waiting for rates to hit 6%. They're adapting to a world where homeownership just isn't part of the plan.
And you have to layer the labor market on top of that. We're seeing white-collar hiring freezes and shrinking backlogs.
Right. Connor Sen talks about this deterioration. Fear doesn't just go away because a mortgage rate drops from 6.8% to 6.1%.
So the customer is on unstable ground. This undermines the industry's favorite assumption, that demand is destiny.
Exactly. You can't just count on demographics to save you when the people in those demographics can't afford insurance or taxes.
So if external demand is shaky, what does a builder do in 2026?
You focus on what you can control. In previous cycles, a hot market hid operational messiness. Now, customer experience is the only thing that matters.
And not just being nice to people.
No. Customer experience is the operating system. If a buyer doesn't trust the timeline, it reveals your poor internal visibility. If they feel unacknowledged, it shows your teams are siloed. The customer is the stress test for your entire business.
So the winners in 2026 will be the ones who obsess over clean data.
Ground truth. That's the phrase. No more magical thinking, no more hoping the economy looks better on paper.
They need to know exactly what is happening on site, not in theory, but in reality.
Right. Schedules need to be results of discipline, not just promises. Because in this market, the margin for error has evaporated.
It sounds like a tough year ahead, but also a clarifying one.
Absolutely. The article sums it up perfectly. 2026 will reward the builders who choose to see.
Visibility over destiny.
Exactly. Structural demand might be a long-term truth, but it's not a strategy. The only strategy now is operational clarity and actually understanding the customer's reality. Time to take the blinders off.